Things are about to change. Truly. We got the Seven of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles reversed, and the Empress reversed. I know that sounds bad. You got new possibilities coming up, but you have to be careful of jealousy. You have to be careful of a lack of self-reliance and a lack of self-respect. There could be some other issues coming up where whatever is going on, it makes you feel like you don't deserve the good things that are coming in. You have to ignore that feeling. You have to ignore that feeling. There are so many good things coming in. And at this point in the world, we got to focus on the good. You know, it's so easy to feel, yeah, exactly. Ace of Pentacles reversed. It's easy to find the bad investments. It's easy to find the lost opportunities and lack of foresight. It's easy to find those things because we are so smacked around by everything going on, but we have to focus on the new possibilities and dissolving these illusions. You know, if that means that we got to meditate, that means we got to meditate. If that means that we got to take a walk, that means we got to take a walk. If that means that you got to go to the aquarium or take a trip and go camping, like, go do that. You know, rest and get back to it. You know what I'm saying? It's not enough to want what other people have. You know, it's not enough, and it's really not good to just want what other people have. You know, that's not for you. What other people have is not for you. You are on your own path. You know, other people's paths, our paths might like converge. They might cross, but you're never about to like be on someone's path ever. You're always going to be, you know, maybe y'all walk next to each other, but no two paths are exactly the same. They might look similar. They might have something that you've wanted for a long time, but that's not looking at their path and going, I need to have that instead. That's jealousy. You know, it's fine to want things that other people have, you know, wanting a better camera that somebody else had, or, you know, wanting the big house that somebody else had, like, cool. But wanting their life or like being obsessive over somebody else's life and what they have, that slips into jealousy very fast. So just be mindful of that kind of thing. Yeah, Knight of Wands, passion, energy, adventure, impulsiveness, action. You got to find what it is that you want to do and do it. It's not enough to, again, it's not enough to want the things that other people have. You have to actually want the things that are meant for you and do those things, because once those things are a part of your life, doors open for you that you never thought were possible. Maybe. You know, that you maybe never thought were possible. By the way, I'm using the Territorial deck. This way I actually stay on topic. I be getting distracted. Anyway, because that was important to know right now. The Two of Swords, indecision, stalemate, impasse, avoidance, weighing options. It's definitely worth taking some time and trying to figure out what it is that deserves your energy, what it is that this path is going to need from you. The Seven of Pentacles, perseverance, diligence, investment, hard work. It's going to take hard work. It is going to take hard work. And sometimes that hard work and diligence is also patiently waiting for these opportunities to show up. You know, not everything is going to happen overnight. You know, if you want to be a content creator, or you want to be a famous poet or singer, or have big, you know, science essays and studies and all that kind of stuff, that's not going to just blow up overnight. You know, you have to make sure that people are actually seeing your stuff. You have to make sure that people are actually being a part of it and engaging with it. And then, Maybe one day you get a boom of followers, or, a ton of people all of a sudden read your, study or whatever it is. I don't necessarily know how studies work, so that might have been the wrong choice to use. But it might take some time. But if you are diligent and you work hard, it's fine. Definitely be wary of... Oh, I bent this card. Three of Cups reversed. Definitely be wary of that overindulgence, or the fear, the feeling of isolation. I feel like there is a fear in this collective of isolation, but when you are fully invested in doing the things that you are supposed to be doing, that isolation comes because people don't always get it. Yeah, exactly. Six of Swords reversed, resistance to change, unfinished business, resisting. There's definitely a resistance to that sometimes by a lot of people, because they don't want to be ostracized. They don't want to be cast out of the social norms. They're doing these things because they want to be a part of those things. The Hanged Man, circumspection, limbo, loss, metamorphosis, transition. There's a need for that transition. There's a need for that change. A metamorphosis. Literally, a metamorphosis happens in nature all the time. Caterpillars to butterflies. We go through so many changes in our lives, to where being scared of change really... And I'm learning this myself. I'm scared of change all the time. There's so many different things that I'm learning how to just accept and be a part of, because it's my literal path right now. Three of Wands reversed, obstacles, lack of foresight, unexpected delays. That's what change feels like for a lot of people. That's exactly what change feels like for a lot of people. A lot of people see that as, well, how am I going to be able to do this? How am I going to be able to do that? I'm picking this card because it flipped over. Four of Swords, relaxation, meditation, rest, contemplation, restoration. Sometimes it just takes some meditation and some rest to figure out where you got to go. Sometimes you just have to take a break and then get back to it. Resting isn't everything. Knight of Swords reversed, lack of direction, restless, unpredictability, impulsive. Sometimes we can get a little too impulsive. Sometimes we act because we are just exhausted. Sometimes we decide what the best choice is out of whatever possibilities we can only see right now. And that's not always every opportunity that we have. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it really does just take sitting down, relaxing, meditating or not, taking an actual break, no doom scrolling, no just sitting there watching TV to escape your problems. Sometimes you really just have to sit down, relax, take a rest, and figure out what it is. Think through all of the options that you have. Think about the options that aren't necessarily immediately there when you think about these things. I'm not saying think 30 steps into the future. But if you're on a straight path forward and you don't see any kind... Say you're taking a walk through the woods. If you're on a path, like an actual trail forward that's cleared, maybe it's just gravel, whatever, and there you literally see for, 500 feet that there's no trees blocking the path, why would you sit there and try to figure out how to go around a tree? You literally just need to stay on the path. It is sometimes that simple. Not always. But that's what the rest and taking a break from these things are for, because then you can get a little bit more creative because you can actually think. With that, I really hope this works out for y'all. I hope this finds you at a good time. And I love y'all. Be safe and have the day that y'all deserve. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Drink your water and stay safe.